Welcome to the Be That Healing Girl podcast. And this episode is all about when things feel distant in your relationship. And believe me, your girl knows what that feels like. So this episode, we're going to look at the eagle eye view of a concept that I actually dive really deep with my one-on-one clients and in my self-study program, the Confidence Code. So we're going to look at what's happening underneath this logic or thought that you have. So we're going to use this whole episode to do that. And towards the end, I'm also going to share some tea on questions that you want to ask yourself when you're in that state. And these questions, I'm telling you, are they're gold, chef's kiss. And if you are new here, hi, I'm your host, Claire, and I love supporting high-achieving women who are literally killing the game in their lives, their careers, their businesses, but they are getting crushed in their love life. So if that is you, you're in the right spot. And so I know this feeling of he's distant so well because essentially that was the first month and year of my then boyfriend, now husband, and I dating. So my husband and I met literally the first night after we met in the morning. There's a whole different episode there on that. But the next morning we had this great time and he basically says, I'm going to San Diego for 2 weeks and I won't be on my phone. And I thought, well, that's interesting because do they not have cell phones or cell phone towers in San Diego? I was so confused. But he basically let me know he won't be texting that much and he had this thing going on. And I absolutely could have made that mean that he wasn't into me, he's just a playboy, and he's gonna go, and blah, 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 blah. And this is such a powerful example of what is going on when our brain wants to think, well, he's distant and it means X, okay, means X, Y, Z. And here's the deal. Humans are meaning makers, all right? We are meaning-making machines. What meaning are you making out of a situation, okay? Because if you're human, and I'm going to guess that you are, I'm human, that we as humans like to interpret. We like to interpret situations or things that are happening based on our experiences. And ultimately, even though we are making these meanings, we're using our lived experience and past memories to assess situations in the present, it can definitely feel like we're not in control, right? I absolutely could have said, well, he's in San Diego, I have no control, and that feels horrible. But in the reality, we may not be in control of our thoughts sometimes, but we are in charge of them, okay? Because while we might have these thoughts pop into our head of, oh, he's just not into me, or he's da-da-da-da-da, we have the ability, because we are in charge of our thoughts, that we get to choose to think something differently. And when we consider, it's really about self-awareness and feelings. When we are in charge, we are cultivating a self-awareness of, oh, he's going to San Diego and I tend to think that he's not into me. Like I get triggered or I get these icky feelings that he may not be interested. That's your actual golden opportunity to change those thoughts, because our brains love to attach meaning to certain situations based on our past experience, right? To our reality. And here's the deal. Our brains attach to our perceived reality, not to theirs. Okay? So what's true, what the facts are, might be very different than what we are attaching meaning to, right? So, or what's happening for them. This is why perspective in relationship is so important. So, and just to go more into how our brain works through association, okay? So he's distant, you're feeling like he's distant, and maybe in your past lived experience, somebody being distant was equaled bad, right? Whatever bad is for you, that they're going to leave you, that they're abandoning you, that it's not safe. So our brain works in associations. So here's an example of that. We know banana equals food, okay? Red light means stop. So as we grow, as we learn things, our brain works through associations because we're getting data and feedback all the time. Our brains are just collecting data and our bodies are collecting data all the time. So for example, right, like I'm sure you know how to drive. That's most of my audience knows how to drive. But imagine if our brains didn't work through association. Every time you got in the car to go to the grocery store, to go to Target, to, whatever, your brain would have to relearn how to drive. I mean, that's kind of crazy to think about, right? So because we learn through association, okay, foot, gas, brake means stop. Like, you don't have to think about it anymore. It's just kind of your subconscious. Not kind of, it is your subconscious. You don't even have to think about it. It's just running in the background. So that's how associations work. Otherwise, you'd be in complete overwhelm every time you had to go to the store because you weren't learning how to get in the car and to turn the ignition, to press the gas, to turn the steering wheel. So that's how powerful our lived experience is and how associations work. So when a situation happens, like he's being distant, unless you do some of the deep excavation on what's actually underneath that feeling of fear, where is that fear coming from, then we're just operating from our subconscious. We're just in this cycle of, wow, I feel scared and this feels scary because we're not actually looking at the facts or seeing the whole picture. Now, this is really important because if you are feeling like he's distant and you're basically just constantly on this edge of waiting for the shoe to drop, or you're thinking thoughts like he doesn't like me or he's going to break up with me, right? So that is a learned behavior. You've learned that thought and that mindset somewhere based on your past experience, and it's coming up when this person that might have even told you very clearly that they like you, it's okay, like we're good, but somewhere in your brain you're like, So that is the thing that's causing the most discomfort. It's your subconscious programming. It's the meaning that you're making from the situation. So let's go back to how I worked through that with Craig, my husband. So he told me that I'm going to San Diego. It's going to be 2 weeks. We won't see each other for basically 3 weeks, a month. So I did not realize this until literally 2 years later. In fact, we were married at this point when he actually told me what he was doing. And when he told me, basically the reason why he was going to San Diego was because he was going to move there. He was going to San Diego to apply for jobs. At the time, he was a middle school math teacher. He was going to look at schools and neighborhoods and send out applications, find out more about living in San Diego. He literally was going there to consider moving. He was making plans to move. And he didn't owe me that also. He didn't owe me an explanation of why he was doing it, and I didn't owe him any explanations. Like, we were getting to know you. We were not official. So come to find out, he doesn't move to San Diego because we started growing this relationship. Now, I know this is my story, right? I'm not saying that every guy that doesn't text you is going to marry you. That's not the point of this story. The point of it is to share, I didn't make it mean anything. I did not make it mean anything that he was not going to be in contact for 2 or 3 weeks. Now, I'm not saying that I didn't have these thoughts or like really wanted him to, but I didn't put any weight or any power into those thoughts because I was busy. I was also dating other people, but I also didn't make it mean something about the potential of our relationship. So that's really the key here for you to look at, and why I share the story, because I had receipts. I could have made it mean something about how he liked me, didn't like me, was out just to da-da-da-da-da. But in reality, I didn't know the whole truth, and I didn't need to. He didn't owe me an explanation then. And what that trust and that openness and not giving that thought weight was really, really powerful. So there's so much power in looking at our thoughts and saying, no thank you. Because that's what I did. I said, no, I'm not going to even entertain these thoughts of he doesn't like me. First of all, we're not in the phase where that really matters. I'm going to trust myself and trust this process. And yeah, I mean, he could be doing those things, but I'm not going to give those thoughts power. All right. And the moment you stop giving those thoughts power, you stop making meaning out of things that don't have proof, then it doesn't matter, which actually leads me to the question. All right. So this is like the gold nugget. So this is a question that I ask myself every single time I watch my brain and my thoughts make meaning about something. And P.S., this takes observational awareness to be able to watch your thoughts. And if you are having trouble with that, or you're not sure what observational awareness is, I'll leave a link down in the show notes about on how to journal, because essentially journaling and presence practices help you to create and cultivate the ability to observe your thoughts. Because if you can't have that space to observe your thoughts, you're just in your thoughts. I call it being in the soup. You're just floating around trying to grab a potato or a carrot. It all just feels very messy. So observational awareness helps you to see your thoughts so that you can not put weight or not give those thoughts power. So the question that you could ask yourself when somebody's being distant in your relationship is that true? Is it true? And where is the evidence? Is it true? Okay. And where is the evidence? So I feel like he's going to break up with me. All right. Is that true? Or is he just tying his shoes in a hurried way? I say that because literally I would make meaning. I would be watching his facial movements and watching how he moved, if he did a sigh or whatever. And that's a whole different thing. But truly, when we are able to look at those situations or little things that we notice from somebody, or silence, or quote unquote distance, is it true? Is your thought true? And where's the evidence? And in a court of law, and by the way, our justice system needs work, but we need proof. We need to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that somebody is guilty. All right. So how much you need evidence. Okay. So I think he's going to break up with me. Where's the evidence? Show me the evidence, show you the evidence. And is it true? Right. So ask yourself those questions, because you're going to be able to look for the facts, because your feelings, I would say this with love, your feelings aren't necessarily facts. They're just feelings. So where is the evidence, or where are the facts, and is it true? All right. And if you are in this space where you're kind of in your head about things, you're just kind of overthinking, well, he did come home and he was just brushing his teeth really angrily, then you want to consider, are you overthinking? And that's exactly what the next episode is going to be about. So the next episode is going to be all about those thoughts, the overthinking, the spinning out, and I'm going to give you some tools to help with the overthinking. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you liked anything about it, hit the like button, and it would be especially so powerful if you left a review. And I will be looking at the reviews, and for a special girly that leaves an amazing review, I'll be gifting a one-on-one session, which is over a $250 value. So if you leave a review, I will definitely be putting your name in the basket for a one-on-one session with me, yours truly. And I'm so glad that you're here. Be gentle with yourself, and I believe in you. Mwah.